the review process. So now you know you have a licensed contractor or a handyman, whoever they are. Whoever you're going to bring over to your house, before you bring them over to your house, why don't you do a little bit of validation and reviewing of exactly what their track record looks like online. There's several resources for that. There's the Better Business Bureau in your local area. You go on there, you simply put in their name, their license number. If there's any reviews on there, you read them, pros and cons, okay? There's also, of course, there's Yelp. There's also numerous other websites that are available to do consumer reviews on people. But what I'd like to get more in depth with here is talking about how to read into what reviews can be. Now, certain industries tend to have a whole lot of reviews. Restaurants, dry cleaners, places that many people frequent on a regular basis with little interaction, they'll tend to have a lot of reviews. Contractors in general, we don't get a lot of reviews because of the type of industry we're in. We don't do 10,000 jobs a year. We don't serve 10,000 customers a year. We have maybe a few hundred customers a year. And we're in an industry where sometimes people just don't take the time to go in and give you a review. But I'll tell you, when you are looking at reviews, let me give you a case study that I experienced myself when I had to get my yard done. I had 61 palm trees put in my yard 3 years ago. I had a gentleman come over, lived in the next town over, and I established immediately he didn't have a license, but I figured, okay, it was landscaping. I'd still at least, hear what he had to say. And in the interview process, he actually brought up the fact that he had been in business for 18 years. And he actually mentioned a customer that was 2 or 3 blocks away from where I lived that apparently he had had some kind of a run-in with, and started talking about that. And I made a mental note of that, okay? And I listened to what he had to say, and let him go on his way. And I had other licensed people that were going to be coming by to give me prices. But in my qualification process, I went in and I started looking at his reviews. And sure enough, he had been in business for 18 years, that's what he told me. And he didn't have any reviews at all until about 1.5 years prior to our meeting. And guess what that review was? That was a 1-star review from this particular customer that he had mentioned he had problems with, that he did everything he could to satisfy. Now that by itself is not a disqualifier, because sometimes there's people you just can't be happy with. I mean, the real disqualifier for me is, how do you go 17 years in business would not have one review, and all of a sudden you get one 1-star review, and then you've got 23 or 40 or 50 5-star reviews. And the way to identify a legitimate review, you also have to weight what's being put in the review. A star is not necessarily a star unless somebody's willing to take the time to write a description about why they gave that star. I haven't had a review ever done. You can go back to my reviews at my company, 𝗪𝗚𝗧𝗍 𝗪𝗏𝗏, California. You can look at Premier Home Repair in Florida. But the reviews of customers that are actually legitimate customers, when they feel compelled enough to go write a good or a negative review, they're going to spell out why they gave you that review. They're not going to just go 5 stars, great job. 5 stars, would hire again. 5 stars, good person. Those are what, and I'm not saying that that's all the cases, but I would weight those very low in the review category. Because if somebody's going to take the time to go in and give you a good review, they'll usually write at least a few good lines of why they think that you deserve that good review, just like people do when they give you a negative review. All right, so this particular person that came over had no reviews, and then all of a sudden had one 1-star review, and then all of a sudden, I think 20 to 30 5-star reviews within the next year after that. And they were all 5-star reviews miraculously, and very few people had very much to say about it. Now, I looked at that as, just my opinion, okay? It's called 1-star review diluting. Okay, and the way that works is essentially, if you get a 1-star review, there are people out there and there are companies that make a living doing nothing but giving false reviews for companies. Okay, and usually those can be identified as being maybe a 5-star, but not a lot of content with regard to why they gave them the 5-star. So, and then you've got some people that, I actually have had an ex-girlfriend going to give me a 1-star review because she knew my company was so important to me that that's the only way that she could get at me. I mean, that's just, some people are nefarious just for being nefarious. So you need to take a compilation of all the main websites, the types of reviews they're getting, the length of time in business, the distance the reviews are apart, how logical they sound, how much weight would you give the content within that review. Okay, that is how you're going to be able to come up with a more accurate, thorough answer in terms of what their real street reputation is. Not by somebody having no reviews for 17 years, getting one one-star review, and then in the next 12 months get 20 to 30 other 5-star reviews. I don't know how big their family was. I don't know how many friends they had. I don't know how many different Gmail accounts they had created. Who knows, okay? But I can tell you this much, I didn't give it a lot of weight, and I also didn't give them the job. And I'm glad I didn't, because when you go out and you spend $20,000 for trees, those trees better grow, because if they don't, you're gonna have to buy them again. Okay, and if you hire someone that without a license, without a warranty, without a track record, without something to lose, and you spend 20,000 bucks for trees and another $15,000 to have them put in, you're $35,000 into getting your yard done, you want it to live. And you know what? The company that I ended up hiring, which is Palm Trees Direct, I'm not a paid spokesman for them, but I'll tell you right now, if you happen to live in the Tampa Bay area and you need to buy palm trees, they put in 61 beautiful palm trees in my yard, and every single one of them lived and has thrived. Highly recommend them, but again, this is not a paid promotion. I'm just telling you my own personal experience with that company. Go to our blog, click that subscribe link, and go to our blog. There's a tremendous amount of information available just for you. Tim McAdams, your construction experts.